What's good, fellas? Welcome to this presentation. We are live in the masculine throne, and we got a special guest, my spiritual brother Omar. I'm gonna introduce him real quickly, how I met him, and why I'm having him here on this topic of how to become an authentic masculine man. All right, so I met Omar in 2019. I think it was around September of 2019, and this was a time when I was going out and doing a lot of cold approach. I was going out approaching women, really working on my social freedom, working on my confidence, and as well as getting some results, actually getting phone numbers and stuff like that. And I was doing pretty decent at the time, but I was still had some things I need to work on. So I was very consistent going out. And I'd go to different places. I would go to the malls, I'd go to the grocery stores, and I'd also go to like universities and college campuses in my area. So I ended up going to this college campus and I was doing some approaches. I was approaching some women and I was also approaching men. And I was going up and I was using the opener, do you want to grab coffee? Right. I was just like being very direct. So I was, mainly approaching women, but I was approaching men as well. And I saw this young man kind of just doing his thing. And I said, yo, let me approach the homie real quick. So I went up to him and I basically said, hey, what's good, bro? How you doing? He was like, hey, what's up? And I basically asked him, yo, you want to grab some coffee, bro? And he was like, sure, okay, sounds good. And then we were talking a little bit, and obviously, me asking the dude for coffee is kind of a joke, but somehow there was a vibe there of like, you know what, let's just do this. So I don't know who took whose number down, but anyway, we exchanged numbers, and then we set up a time to go and grab coffee. And then we ended up grabbing the coffee, and we actually ended up having some great conversation. We were talking about business at the time. I was doing a lot of digital marketing. I was building websites and helping people with their marketing and sales funnels and things of such. And Omar had an interest in that, so we were kind of vibing on that topic. But then we also vibed on the topic of approaching women, of improving ourselves as men, becoming the most attractive version of ourselves. So ever since that day, we ended up just staying in touch. We ended up, going out and approaching women together. Like some days we'd go and do day games, so like go and approach women in the day. We just ended up becoming really cool. I introduced Omar to some of my friends. We ended up doing some night game as well. And we just stayed in touch for a long time. We're kind of like, there's maybe times where we didn't weren't in contact, but we always somehow ended up getting back in contact. And now we're really cool. Now we're really cool. I see Omar as like a spiritual brother because we kind of just have like a vibe. Whenever we link up, it's always productive. It's always good vibes. So ever since then, when I just met Omar and we would do approaches and stuff, he was dealing with approach anxiety and stuff like that, and I was kind of like showing him like it is what it is. Like I still experience it too, but you got to just go for what you want. You got to go and approach these girls. And man, Omar has made huge improvements since then. Like now he can approach any girl. He's very grounded. He's very calibrated. You know what I mean? He's definitely masculine, but he's also like not, it's not overly masculine. He's figured out how to balance it with the feminine. He's authentic. He can express himself. He just really worked on himself. And I'm actually, when I met him, I didn't know, sometimes I meet people and they kind of talk about different things or whatever, and they're not really about it. But Omar has been very consistent in improving himself and working on his game and that kind of thing. And I definitely think he is an authentic masculine man. So that's why I brought him on for this topic. So that's enough of me kind of, hyping you up, bro. You can kind of come in and kind of tell the guys, um, what you're doing, what are you about, kind of talk about what has happened since the day when I approached you, and you were still trying to figure things out. I'm sure you're a lot more clear on what your purpose may be and what you're working on. And yeah, so kind of just vibe with us, let us know what's good, who you are, what you do, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Thanks for the awesome introduction, first of all. So this is my first time doing a live, actually. A little bit nervous, but I'm just flowing with it. So yeah, just starting off, I would say when we first met, I was at a place where I was very driven, but I think it was when we met that my purpose started to get a little bit more clear, right? I remember when I was I was standing. This was at a college campus, and I saw you do an approach, and it was like this, like thick, like cute girl, and I remember you were telling her something like come back here, like I want to talk to you, something like that, and it inspired me. I was like, oh wow, that's cool. Like I kind of wish like I was that guy, right? So then, uh, she came back. You got her number, and I was doing my thing. And I was just kind of smiling. I'm like, man, that's a cool dude. Like, whatever. Next thing you know, I see like I hear someone like approach me, and I look up from my phone, and it was you. So, and then we were talking a little bit, and you were like, yeah, let's go get some coffee. And I'm not gonna lie, I was like, that's kind of strange, so I was just like, okay, like cool. But you were telling me that you were networking and stuff like that, so I was definitely down because at the time I was still figuring out what I wanted to do as far as like marketing. I think I was trying to start my own like little business at the time. Um, so knowing that you had some experience in that, I was like, yeah, well, let's do it. I'll hit you up for coffee and let's sit down. Let's talk about it. So from that point, as far as social skills, women being masculine, it wasn't really like I didn't even understand those terms, right? I didn't really understand what groundedness was. All I knew was what I wanted, and I knew that I really wanted to get it. So, that's why I was like, let me hit up Trey and let's go out for coffee. Let's go talk about marketing. I want to surround myself with people that I think are going to benefit me in my life. And I think that's why we've lasted this long as friends is just, every time we go out, like you said, it's always a productive conversation, right? So, um, I like what you said about just the fact that I became more grounded, more calibrated, more masculine, because when we first met, actually, I was very uncalibrated. I would say, right? Like I was very like talkative. I couldn't really stay silent. I couldn't even listen to somebody that much without kind of making it about me. And there was just like this upper energy, um, and just there's no like silence. If I had to describe groundedness, it's just like this feeling of safety, being safe with who you are and just being able to sit there. It doesn't matter what you feel. It's you are grounded in that feeling, right? So um, cool. Yeah. So I think what else was it you wanted me to talk about? Was there anything else?
Yeah, so we're talking about becoming an authentic masculine man. So can you talk about your journey of becoming more authentic, becoming more masculine? Like what was your journey like to
Hmm.
become the man that you are right now?
Yeah. So, like I said, my starting point, non masculine, uncalibrated, didn't know what groundedness was. So, where I learned all of this was actually some of the workshops I ended up taking, right? And just a lot of different books, things like that. A lot of going out, experimenting. Going out with Trey a lot, approaching, going out by myself, going out with friends. Doing a lot of different work, but to get more specific, right? So as far as I'll kind of dip into each category by itself. So as far as authenticity, right? I would like to define authenticity, right? Because I think for me, the way I would like to explain authenticity is it's about feeling what you're feeling and making it okay, right? And I don't, I think, a lot of people are just like, it's being real, it's being yourself, being who you are. It's like, okay, cool. Like, that's, some people don't even know how to be real. Some people don't even know how to be who they are, right? So that's why I like to start off with feeling what you're feeling and making it okay, right? That is something you actually, like, you can do that right now, right? And that's how simple being authentic is, right? It's getting in touch with how you feel and not making it wrong, right? Not trying to hide it, not trying to put on a front, right? And so, going with that definition, for me, when I had started my journey with this, there was a lot of things that I was hiding. So I started out with different kind of, I don't want to say techniques, but different things that I learned, like, get a deeper voice, uh, which it does help a little bit, like, so basically, practice a deeper voice. And so then I'd kind of put that on, and then I make it too deep. And I remember how I said I was uncalibrated, so it would come across as weird, right? Or it would be something like, fix your posture, like put your shoulders back, which is all like, it's great advice, works, but it works if you're feeling it. You can't, if you just like hear that and you logically go into it, like, okay, put my shoulders back. So you're doing it like too much, and you're just like, yeah, and so that was kind of like how I started out a little bit. Like, I would read those little tidbits there, like that. It makes you look confident, And so I was always trying these little gimmicks so I could look confident, so people could think I was confident. So in the end, they could, respect me, so that girls could like me, whatever it was. But at the end of the day, I was still putting on some kind of front. Like, I was looking at ways to act with women. I was looking at, things to say. And all of it just, it was fun, but it was tiring, because it wasn't taking me anywhere. It was just like technique after technique after technique, and there's just no end to it, right? So eventually I stumbled onto, the fact that, what if you didn't have to use these techniques, right? What if you were just you, and, you just got better at being you? And that's, so I doubled down on that, triple down on that, and it paid off. So that's kind of what happened. So I started noticing, first of all, like, how I was feeling, and then I would kind of just be like, okay, cool. So am I trying to, like, hide this from people? Like, if I'm feeling kind of nervous, oh, an alpha male is not supposed to feel nervous, Um, so I just like get in my head and just like try not to be nervous, and just try to act like, super, try to act super masculine, but I wasn't really coming across that way, right? So, long story short, when I started noticing that, I could actually do something about it. So then I started saying, okay, is there any way I could just, let this nervousness be there, not try to hide it, stop resisting. It's there. It's a part of me. It's who I am, right? This is who I am, right? And so then I just sat in the nervousness, and, learned to accept that. And then, slowly you learn to get comfortable with feeling a lot of your emotions, right? And the more comfortable you get feeling your emotions, the more authentic you become, right? In the sense that you become proactive with your emotions, and you can share, right? You can share what you're feeling. You're comfortable enough with yourself. So that was my journey with authenticity. Starting out, like I said, for that, like I just started noticing, everywhere I was going, what feelings were coming up, how I was interacting with people. People are really good for telling, for kind of showing you about yourself. How you feel around people is very important, um, and how people feel around you is also very important. So noticing the shift when I first was trying to hide, I first was like, trying to act cool. I didn't want people to know I was insecure about this or whatever, insecure about getting women, or at the time I was a virgin, so insecure about that. Um, so uh, I ended up kind of looking at those feelings coming up and accepting them. So as far as the journey of authenticity, that was my journey with authenticity. Now, my journey with you were asking masculinity, and was it groundedness?
Hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. One
Mm-hmm.
one thing I do want to say is I do agree a lot with what you said about feeling your emotions and letting that be okay. And I think that is although it may sound simple or like like okay, yeah, you could feel your emotion and feel okay, but it's actually very powerful. And the reason I say that is because in my journey of working on myself and improving my confidence and getting good at approaching and attracting women, I try to become this like super confident, um, like cold, kind of like bad boy, kind of weird thing. Like instead of me just like saying, okay, I'm a cool guy. Let me just learn, let me just be comfortable in my skin. Let me just be okay with feeling my emotions and go and meet some women who can appreciate me for that. I didn't do that. I was trying to become like this confident machine, you know? And because I was doing that, it took me a long time to become um to be able to connect with others, not just women, but connect with others because I didn't make it okay for me to just feel my emotions and be who I am. I was trying to become something else. And I think one of the things I think I've told you this is like your journey has been a little different because you focused on how can I be okay with myself and then get women because I'm okay with myself versus me, I was trying to become something else. And I think there's a huge difference. I think when you're trying to become something else, it's like this long journey that is like I can't get the women until I become this thing. That's what it became. Versus you can improve and evolve and become a greater version of yourself, but you can also meet and connect with people on your journey. Like you don't have to wait until you reach this amazing super godlike version of yourself before you can meet some women. Like you can be growing and evolving and meeting women and connecting with people on that process. And that was something I didn't realize. I thought that I needed to become this amazing person first, and I didn't realize that I was already amazing. Like I was already good enough as I was. I just needed to learn how to accept myself. And so that's one thing that you mentioned that I thought was really important to point out, because I think as men, yeah, we should always be evolving and stuff like that, but I don't think we should be thinking that we're not good enough right now to experience certain things. Like, oh,
Hmm.
I'm not good enough now to meet women, or I'm not good enough now to be happy. I need to get this thing first. Like, no, you could be happy now. You can meet women now and evolve. You know. So that was something that you pointed out. I just wanted to uh like put some more emphasis on that because I really believe in that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No. I yeah yeah. uh, And your journey has definitely been very beautiful to see. As far as coming from a place of me first meeting you, and you definitely being a cool guy, but seeing you open up more and more actually over the years has been very very nice to see. you know um, and I'm sure your results with women massively increased when you started to open up more. um, Having that balance,
yeah.
kind of like you were saying. So yeah, yeah. Um, cool. So
Yeah,
I,
so
mhm.
you were going into, so you talked about how you became more authentic. So you want to talk about how you became more masculine, how you became more assertive, more proactive. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, yeah. So I'll start off with where I was as far as masculinity. So for me, it wasn't that I didn't have some masculine traits. Like obviously, if you're driven and you want to do something, you're focused. That is a pretty masculine trait. It was just that I didn't know how to own my masculinity, right? And even further, it was like there was the drive, but maybe there wasn't the ability to handle tension. When it came my way. If you think about masculinity, it's all about someone being able to step into tension and stay there. I was definitely very good at stepping into tension. It's just being able to stay there. And that's where the groundedness comes in. Was it was harder for me, and you know, um, yeah, being able to deal with my emotions that requires um, masculinity, right? So for me, that's where I was at. And so with masculinity, I first started looking at it from the perspective of, okay, so yes, there are things that are masculine traits, like being grounded, like going after something, being a man who just stands his ground, like very strong in his frame, assertive, right? But all those start with how you feel about yourself, right? And so going back into it, same with authenticity, you got to see how you feel, right? And you got to see, okay, do I feel like I'm, if I'm assertive, then something will go wrong, you know? And so for me, that was really big. Now I choose my moments when I'm very assertive, right? So I'm not. It's not like I'm full on like, hey, do this. Let's go here. Okay, like it's I I use that again, when I need to. So that it's the balance of being able to kind of be there, right, and then being assertive at the right times. For me, that's where I'm at right now is just learning that balance, not being overly assertive because I need to, but seeing where it's required and being like, okay, so right here, no, I need to take the lead. I need to be assertive here. So um, when I saw, okay, so I didn't want to be assertive because I was afraid or some fear would come up for me. Then I focused and I learned to let go of that fear, right? Um, and then with other things like grounding, you know, grounding is kind of what I was saying before, is like being safe in your body, right? So what I started doing was when I would go out with Trey, and we would do like approaches, stuff like that. I started focusing on, really feeling more and more safe, as I would talk to these girls or people, right? And at first it was a little bit scary, and then it started to become enjoyable, right? And doesn't mean that right now, nervousness doesn't come up. It does sometimes, but I feel safe with the nervousness, right? And that's what grounding is. It's not about, not feeling nervous, not about not feeling shameful or sad or anything. It's okay. I feel this way, and I'm okay with that. And, you know, I'm safe in it, right? That's grounding. So, going out, talking to people, things like that, like learning to feel safer while talking to people, you know. And there is I guess, the feeling in your body, right, of where groundedness is. If you look up grounding, you'll kind of see grounding is just like tension running through your body, and it's going down your feet into the earth. If you think about an electric wire, that's why it's called grounding. So I started focusing on the aspect of feeling how the tension was moving in my body, right? Whether I was like relaxed in it, right? I think that's the best way to explain it, is whether or not you're relaxed in tension. When you're relaxed in tension, you can already feel like, okay, just like everything just relaxes down, right? And so I was learning to get relaxed in the tension, right? So um, that was my journey, so learning to get relaxed, seeing where I was tight, whether it was in my legs, in my upper body, right, and learning to relax into that, especially when I was around women or, people that made me very nervous, right? So as far as grounding, that, and masculinity, I would say that. So.
Cool. So what would you say, because you talk about being more relaxed in your body, more comfortable in your body, um what would you say are some of the benefits to that? Because at first, when we used to go out and the stuff you would talk about, yeah, you got to feel relaxed in your body, you got to feel comfortable in your body, and you got to feel your arms and feel your legs. And I used to just be like, bro, just approach the girl, bro. You know what I mean? But then after a while, like after you saying it a while, I started to notice that, actually, what he's saying is true. It's just like I wasn't noticing that I was doing it, or I wasn't noticing how
Mm-hmm.
much how important it is, or the benefits of it. So, can you kind of talk about why is it important for a man to be able to relax in his body? Why is it important for him to be able to feel his legs, feel his arms when he's talking to a woman, when he's approaching a woman, right? Like,
Yeah.
what does that do? How does that help him get better results or create more attraction? Or what is it? What is the benefits?
Yeah, so I would start out by saying, if you're not relaxed in your body, you can't feel, right? And it's very important for you to feel what's going on, right? So basically, getting out of your head, being able to be present in the moment, so you know how to respond to the girl, so you can actually listen to her, right? It's super important for her to be able to feel you, right? For people to be able to feel you. So the more relaxed you are, um, the more you can feel, and that comes across to people. And the more you feel into your body, the more grounded you are, right? And it's just overall, first of all, it's like a very safe, like being safe in your body is like you just experience the world in a completely different way. You know, it feels good. Um, and then that comes across to people, right? So to girls, that actually makes you a lot more attractive when you can feel your body, right? So let's say, when you want to get sexual with a girl and you're in your head, right? You're not really turned on by her. She's going to feel that. And, well, that's going to kill attraction. But if you learn to relax into that, right, that's a different story. So you have to learn to relax into those feelings. And oftentimes, what happens is, the reason why we tighten up in our bodies is because we don't want to feel, right? So it's a lack of accepting your emotions, basically, right? So uh, we tighten up, we get in our head, we judge ourselves, we judge the emotion, like I'm not supposed to feel this, whatever it is, or it's way too much for us to feel. Sometimes it's super uncomfortable, right? So we start to tighten up and we get in our head. So that's why, like, you'll see a guy like talk to a pretty girl, like look at look at the guy when he's approaching the girl. He might, before approaching her, he might be like relaxed, talking to his friends, having a good time, and then when he's walking up to the girl, he's just like fucking like nervous, like, hey, excuse me, right? And it comes across, and it comes across because I've been that guy, right? So I know that place, I know where it's coming from, right? um, and when you learn to relax, then you can actually walk in, right? And then it's just then you can actually have a conversation with a girl like she's your friend or whatever it is, right? They say have a conversation with a girl like she's your friend, right? But your subconscious mind doesn't see her that way. It feels certain traumas or things come up and feelings come up, like you get super nervous around her because you're afraid she's something bad's gonna happen or whatever it is, right? So when you're walking up, you feel all that coming up, and you just can't, right? So when you learn to relax, then that's when you can talk to the girl. So when you're around your friends, you're very relaxed, right? You're relaxed, like you're flowing with them, you're teasing them, you're having a good time. And then when you walk up to the girl, well, what's the difference? You're tightening up. You're not getting relaxed in your body. Certain feelings are coming up, you're not accepting them, right? So when you can get to that stage, right, then you're more grounded. Then life becomes more of a flow. Then the girl is able to feel you. Another thing too is, if you think about it, if you can't feel a person, then, or you feel they're just so like uncomfortable, so tight, then what makes them interesting? And why would you be drawn to them? Why would you even want to talk to them? Right? Like, think about it from a perspective of, if you have somebody walking over to you who's very super tense, like they're awkward because they don't know how to accept themselves, and they just, would you want to talk to that person? Not really. Would you want to? Yeah, would you be attracted to that person? Probably not, right? You want to be able to feel somebody, and feelings make people interesting, right? It's why we watch TV shows, because the way it makes us feel, feelings are interesting, right? Um, so would you rather have someone walk up to you who's like super tense, awkward, trying to be cool, or someone walking up to you like, and they're nervous and they're just like, hey, excuse me, I'm super nervous right now, but I want to come and say hi. And there's a big difference between that, right? So it's very important that you learn to be safe in your body, for yourself and for others. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So another quality that you did bring up was being present in the moment, right? Like an authentic masculine man, I think one of the qualities he has is he's able to be present in the moment. And when I look at, some of my um the best nights I've had, for example, like Night Game or like some of the best approaches I've had in general, they tend to be those times when I was very present to the moment, where I was just completely accepting of what was going on in the interaction. I wasn't resisting anything the woman was saying. I wasn't resisting how I was feeling or what I felt like saying. I wasn't resisting anything that could potentially happen in the environment. Just completely present, completely grounded, right? Those are the times when I notice a lot more success or just better interactions, like just me having a really great time when I'm present to the moment. And even if you think about when you go to the club, like what are most people doing? They're drinking or they're taking drugs, these different things. Why? Because they want to be present to the moment. They want to get out of
Yeah.
their heads. They want to, right? And so it's like, for us, it's like, how can we be present to the moment without that stuff, without needing to take a drink, without needing to do drugs or any of these things? How can we be present to the moment? Because that's what we want. And when you're present to the moment and you're being authentic, what it does for other people is it makes it okay for them to be that way too. That's why it's so attractive when you can be present to the moment, because you allow others to be that way, because we all want to be present to the moment. We all want to
Yeah.
be authentic. We all want to open up and express ourselves and enjoy. So, can you talk about the importance of being present to the moment and how someone can be more present to the moment?
Hmm. Yeah. I love the topic of presence just because, you know, I think everything, whether it's women, money, success, happiness, um, requires you to be present to the moment, you know, in order to really experience it. And just overall, you know, why would you want any of those things if you can't really be present with it? If you can't enjoy it right then and there, right? It's the same if you want to play basketball. You're not going to want to play basketball and then you're just like thinking about your homework that you have to do, or I don't know, whatever you're thinking about. Maybe going to your job or something. Fuck no. When you're playing basketball, you're having a good time. You're fucking trying to dunk with your friends. You're trying to one up your friend. You're you're very present to the moment. Sports gets you very present to the moment, and the reason why is because you have to use your body. You can't really use your body and be in your head at the same time. Very hard, right? You got to really feel like when the ball is coming at you, you got to grab the ball. So um, presence is very important. I really like that topic, and you know, with presence, I like what you said, that it makes people feel more present around you. Um, it's the same thing with like, I guess presence and grounding are pretty similar. When you're present, very present, you become very grounded, right? You're in this moment, you're accepting everything. And so people feel that off of you, right? And it's this energy coming off of you, or feeling coming across as like, this guy is here. He's not thinking about what he's going to do after this, or what. He's just here. He's here to have a good time, right? So, or he's like, I can actually feel this person, you know. So, um, yeah, presence is the most important topic, I think, right? And I like presence as well, because I think it's very important for spirituality. Um, you have to learn to really just enjoy now, right? There's nothing else outside of this moment. There's nothing in the past. There's not going to be anything in the future. It's just now, right? The future is going to be now. The past was now, right? Um, and the more and more I work on my presence, right, the more and more ground I get, the more and more in my body I get. or the safer I start to feel in my body, relaxing in my body more, right? And the more enjoyable life becomes, right? So a few ways to uh, get present to the moment. It's actually a lot. Basically, it's very simple, right? So you have to get in touch with what's here right now, right? You can't be thinking of what you have to do, or any of the problems that are coming up in your head. Those things are definitely something you want to deal with, but right now, there might not be something you can do about it. So first of all, you need to get present in the moment so you can actually do something about it from a safe, grounded place, right? So you want to get in touch with what's here right now. You want to get in touch with your senses, because your senses are what is taking in what's here right now. So your touch, right? How things feel. So, whether it's like uh, touching your fingertips, right? There's a technique I learned from a friend. It's actually like, can you get so present to the moment that you feel your finger ridges, right? Um, just moving, right? Um, Listening, right? Hearing what's going on around you right now, right? When you are, and getting, just kind of not thinking while you're doing it, just listening, just being there, right? And it can take a little bit of practice, but those things will start getting you in this moment right now, right? And then obviously sight, so seeing what's in front of you, right? Seeing the colors, seeing the texture, being able to feel a little bit of the texture. Like, okay, so this is a little bit shiny, right? And not thinking about it, just noticing it, right? And I like the word noticing because it's very calm, subtle. You're not trying to do anything. You're not trying to force it. People will try to do it logically, and they'll be like, okay, get very focused on it. It's like, it's just, you just look at it. You just notice it. It's there, right? And it can be confusing at first, right? So I did have to experiment with it a little bit at first. I am someone that is pretty logical sometimes. So for me, I was just like, okay, like I'm looking at it. Okay, I kind of get what they're saying, but I can't stop thinking. Like, fuck, you know, I'm not supposed to be thinking, and I'll kind of beat myself up about it. So with that, it's just kind of okay, cool. Just notice that thought, and then just bring it back. Like, bring it back to what you're seeing, right? And so just keep on doing that, and you'll naturally become more present, right? It's a very simple process. It requires, you actually, putting in the time throughout the day and making it a priority, right? I wouldn't say it's an easy process. It's very easy for us to get distracted and get in our thoughts and not want to feel what's going on right now, because when you get into presence, you start feeling, right? Then you start having thoughts come up about the feeling. Then it starts to get fucking, it becomes a shit show, and it's just, okay, cool. Like, I'm going to, as much as I can, let me see those thoughts and let me bring it back to the feeling, or let me bring it back to, listening. And for me, actually, I really like listening to the sounds around me. For me, that actually works really well. And everyone might have their different thing that works, but for me, when I listen, just the sense of calmness. There's nothing else except that sound, right? It's just that sound, right? So, I like the topic that of presence a lot, and yeah, that's just a few ways to get present.
Cool, cool. So an authentic masculine man. When I think about an authentic masculine man, I think about a man who can express himself authentically. That means if we're having a conversation, he can actually be his true self in that conversation. He's not putting up a front. He's not trying to be cool. He's not trying to say what I want to hear. He's just expressing his true authentic self. And even the example I was given about like in the club, everybody's drinking and doing drugs and all this stuff, and it's because they have a hard time expressing their true selves. They have a hard time being authentic or being how they really want to be, right? And so they use the drugs and alcohol so they can just let go, right? They won't be stuck in their head. And
Yep.
I think a big part of that is because we care too much about what people think. We care too much about people's approval, right? Because when we're home alone in our room by ourselves, we can, we could do whatever. We could say whatever. We can scream. We could dance. We can sing, da da da. But then let somebody walk in, all of a sudden we're like, oh shit.
Hmm.
So how do you overcome like the fear of people judging you, or the fear of people rejecting you, or fear of not getting someone's approval? Like, how did you work on that? Because that's a big part of becoming an authentic man as well, right?
Yeah, yeah, very big part. So it takes a lot of courage to be authentic, and so fear of judgment was really big for me, right? I I used to care a lot what people thought, and I didn't want people to know that I cared a lot about what they thought. So, uh, kind of funny. I was afraid of being judged for being afraid of being judged, right? A little bit of a mind fuck, but yeah. So for me, um, with with the fear of being judged, with letting go of people's approval, right, and not really caring what they think, I'll say that it it's not like you're gonna wake up one day and just stop giving a shit what people think. You know, more often than not, that will not really happen to you, right? You have to look at it from the perspective of, okay, so you said fear of judgment, right? Okay, so fear of judgment's a feeling, right? So is wanting approval. So every day, you slowly do things that help you stop giving a shit about people's opinions about you, right? So, you got to step into a little bit of courage every day. And slowly but surely, you'll let go of that fear of judgment. So, um, when you are hiding your emotions, that's actually a really big part of fear of judgment, right? And I did not want people to see me get nervous. I didn't want them, especially shameful, feeling shameful. I hated that, right? And that's what shame does. So, um, but it's natural, it's a part of you. It's not going to go anywhere. You're always going to feel shame come up, um, maybe not if you're enlightened, but if you're just a regular guy then or girl, then yes, you will feel shame come up or fear come up. And so it's about learning to look at them as just feelings. Okay, I'm afraid, and then slowly but surely working on that, a little bit every day. So for me, with fear of judgment, I would just go out, do approaches. I was really scared of what people would think if they saw me doing approaches, or even like getting rejected. So you said fear of rejection too. I was really scared of getting rejected. Um, and it is about desensitization, but not desensitization to rejection. Just like if I go out and do a bunch of approaches, then I'm going to become a god within like 2 days. I'm not saying it's impossible, right? I'm just saying, if you know the right shit, then yeah, it might be possible. But more often than not, it is, what most people don't want to hear. It is like um, it's a process. So it's learning to go out and doing what feels just right about what feels comfortable enough for you to for you to really desensitize what you're feeling. Right. So just a little bit of getting comfortable with that fear more and more, or in accepting it, and then getting comfortable with wanting people with letting go of people's approval by doing things that you think they would disapprove of, that you're scared of doing, right? Wanting approval and fear of judgment are they kind of go in the same boat a little bit. Um, so, or they do go in the same boat, yeah. So, yeah, I would say that.
Mm-hmm. All right. So when you become an authentic masculine man, what starts happening um, when you approach and you interact with women? Like, what are some differences you notice, like versus maybe before when you weren't as authentic and you weren't as grounded in your masculinity? Like, what was the difference you started to notice with women? Like, what were you able to create attraction faster, or would women
Mm-hmm.
chase you, or like what exactly started happening once you became more authentic and more grounded in regards to like your approaching and interactions with women?
Good, very good question. So, I remember when I used to approach, and I would just like, yeah, putting up this front or trying to control what was gonna happen, and just walking up and not being like, "Fuck," like I don't want her to see me nervous or something like that. And I remember just like girls would kind of be, they feel something was off, they really wouldn't talk to me, and I'd kind of beat myself up a little bit about it. And it doesn't mean that not all girls wouldn't talk to me. Some girls will, they will, if they're drunk enough sometimes, or maybe she's the same way. You never know. Or there's different reasons why girls will, but more often than not, a girl just, they're not going to want that. Because if you're a guy, you wouldn't want, you might say that you'd be okay with the same thing. Like if a girl just walked up to you and she's like super weird, and and if you're desperate enough and you want to fuck off, then yeah, sure, you put up with it. But in the long run, it's just, it's not fun, and it just, it's draining. And so women, same thing with them. When you walk up to them, you know when you have your walls down, they put their walls down. So for me, when I started actually working on my authenticity, the way I felt, like nervousness, opening up about it, even sharing when I would walk up to the girl, like, yeah, I'm kind of nervous right now, or you make me kind of nervous, you know, and like looking her in the eye and staying in that, with that feeling, owning it, right? Um, they would respond very differently. They would open up right away. They'd be like, "Oh, that's okay," like that, and then they'd start to giggle a little bit. They get a little bit nervous themselves in a good way, and also they just feel safe. With approaching, something that's super important is the girl should feel safe when you're walking up to her. Half the reason she doesn't feel safe is because she can already see your front from a fucking mile away. You're walking up, trying to put your shoulders back, and like walking like, whatever, like I'm cool as fuck, like whatever it is, or you already have what you want to say in your head, and you're just like, yeah, I'm gonna say it, like you're state pumping. But when you just walk in there, and you're yourself, she feels safe. She knows you're comfortable in your body. That makes her feel comfortable with herself. Like this is just another person. You know, um, and so with all kinds of girls, like even like the hottest girls, they just open up to you right away because they see you're very different than a lot of guys. You know, you're not, you're yourself, and there's only one of you. There's nobody else. So you're fucking interesting. Whether you think so or not, you are very interesting, right? You just got to learn to stop wanting to be like someone else. Like, I had a few movie characters. I was always thinking like I would fucking love to be that guy. Like there's a guy I was showing you, Hank Moody from Californication, like super cool dude. Really good with women. You know, really, if you want to learn about getting good with women, like just watch how he is. And by the way, in the show, he's very like authentic, like very, grounded, like knows how to play with girls. And so I saw that, I was just, I'd be like, that guy. And it's like, look at the qualities he has. Don't want to be him. Just look at the qualities he has. He's very authentic. He owns who he is.
All right. Looks like we lost you, brother. Um, but I'll just continue off of what you were saying because I do agree with that. Um, Being able to look at different characters, different archetypes, and seeing what qualities do I admire in this character or this archetype, and how can I develop or cultivate those qualities within my own character. Right? This is something that I did a lot. I even talk about the masculine archetypes that I've developed over time, which is the king, the warrior, the magician, the lover, and the joker. So that was actually a big part of the process as well. Like I would find different archetypes that I felt could help me get the result I wanted to get. So maybe let's say I was too serious at one point. So I tapped into the Joker archetype. The Joker is not serious at all, right? So I started to take that archetype, those qualities of being more humorous, more self-amusing, right? Giving less fucks about people's opinion, no attachment to outcome. Like there's certain qualities that the Joker had that I started taking on because I was missing those qualities to some extent. I was too rigid, too serious, right? So you could do that with different characters. Like, the book King, Warrior, Magician, Lover, it literally gives you some archetypes that you can work on. And if you work on those archetypes and work on the qualities of those archetypes, you can become very dynamic as a man. So I leveraged those, but I also came up with my own. The Joker, I studied 50 Cent. I wanted to take some of the qualities 50 Cent had because he's a great businessman, but he's a great entertainer and he's just like a cool guy, solid guy, powerful man. I looked at the character Bane from the Batman movies. Bane was very powerful and strong, but he was also very intelligent. You know what I mean? I thought that was cool too. So yeah, you could look at these different characters. So yeah, bro, I was just continuing what you were saying about looking at different characters and archetypes and taking those qualities and cultivating them within your own character.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's yeah, that's also important too. You know, for me,
Mhm.
I did a lot of that too. Yeah, where like Hank Moody, for example, like I was mentioning, and then I'm trying to think of someone else that I really liked. Yeah, what's his name? Daniel Craig's James Bond in Casino Royale. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, just
Yeah.
very grounded, very like calm. He doesn't even have to say a word, but just the way he comes across. Like if you look at him, he's so relaxed, right? Um, yeah, and that's what makes him attractive, right? So, yeah, yeah. So, did you have any other questions for me?
Yeah, I think we covered the authentic masculine man very well. We looked at different things. We looked at being able to express yourself authentically. We looked at being able to be present in the moment, being relaxed in your body, comfortable in your own skin. So can you talk about like any do you have any opportunities, because we're basically going to close it out now, but do you have any
Okay.
opportunities or anything that how can you help someone, like let's say somebody's watching this and they're interested in becoming a more authentic masculine man and they want to meet more women, be more attractive to women, and just be more authentic and masculine in their life in general so they can go after their goals and do it in an authentic way? Like what kind of opportunity do you have for men like that?
So, we did cover a lot of that in our talk.
Mhm.
Um, and if I had to put it in just a simple thing, I would say it's learn to accept yourself. Um, the way you are. And, you know, that's really what it is about being an authentic masculine man. Learn to accept who you are, owning it, and learn to um, step into that with people, you know, more open with it. You know, you don't have to fucking go, with your most vulnerable story first. You know, you can start bring that in later, but work on the little things. What are the things that you do? You know, maybe it's I have to buy nice clothes to impress people. You know, um, work on um, wearing like for you, not for else. So it really being authentic. It's kind of like being authentic to be authentic, right? So you can cross other people as authentic. You just naturally become authentic, start to accept and love yourself, and they accept your feelings. It's basically that's what an authentic guy is, you know. So
All right, looks like we're losing you, brother. Um, so I'll go ahead and close it out here. Because I guess we're having some technical difficulties with Omar. But basically, Omar is located in Miami. Um, and if you're watching this
feel them
on
and don't.
during the March of 2022, we're in 2022 now. Um, basically, I'm gonna be in Miami. Um, the second week of March. So we're in the first week of March right now. I'm going to be in Miami the second week of March. So I just want to extend the opportunity for any man who is interested in doing live infield coaching. Miami is actually a great place for that, and it's spring break right now, so there's going to be a lot of women and a lot of opportunity out there. So I will be out there, and Omar lives over there. So what's going to happen is I will be coaching or delivering infield coaching while I'm there, and so I'll have Omar also, be a part of that. He will also be coaching you because me and Omar, we've went out and approached women a lot together, right? So I know Omar knows his shit, and obviously I've been doing this for quite some time, and I've been doing the online coaching, and that is very powerful. But this is an opportunity for you to get live infield coaching, right? And be in a position where there's a lot of women around and stuff like that. So if you're interested in live infield coaching, um, private message me. Let me know, hey Trey, I'm interested in the live infield coaching. What kind of options do you have for me? We'll have a couple different options, like if you just want to do 1 day, or if you want to do 3 days, or if you want to do 3 days plus 8 weeks of coaching, because I have an online coaching, my Godlike Confidence coaching program. We could do like a bundle for you. So if you're interested in any of those opportunities, just reach out to me and I will hook you up. All right. So I want to thank you all for watching this presentation. I want to thank you, Omar, for coming on and sharing your understanding of how to become an authentic masculine man. And thank you for watching. I'll see y'all on the next videos. Peace.